So you really need to think through these 6 definitions to see that they say all that they need to say, but they don't say more than they need to say. They say exactly what they need to say. So let's just practice thinking through that with some particular situations. That's going to probably be in the way. Let me move it over here. So first of all, nope, that didn't work. What is that? Well, let's just go through the list and see. Is it a parallelogram? Is it a quadrilateral? Yep, it has 4 sides. Does it have 2 pair of parallel sides? 1 pair, 2 pair. Yep, that thing right there is a parallelogram. Is it also a rectangle? Rectangles are quadrilaterals where all 4 angles are right angles. Got ourselves a quadrilateral, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 right angles. Yep, it's also a rectangle. Did you know, I hope you do, that these polygons, these quadrilaterals, can have more than one classification? This thing is a parallelogram. It's also a rectangle. Is it a square? It's a quadrilateral, has 4 sides, but are all 4 sides equal length? Nope, not a square. Rhombus, all 4 sides equal length? Nope. Kite, 2 pair of adjacent sides are equal length. Now adjacent means next to each other. So like this side is adjacent to this side. Those sides are not the same length. So it's not a kite. Trapezoid, quadrilateral, yep, 4 sides. At least 1 pair of opposite sides are parallel. That's parallel, and that's parallel. We actually have 2 pairs of parallel sides. To be a trapezoid, you only have to have at least 1. At least 1. At least 1 means you have to have 1, but you could have 2. So, this thing right here, by this definition, it's a trapezoid. So this object right here is a parallelogram, it's a rectangle, and it's a trapezoid. Now, if you're bothered by the fact that this is a trapezoid, just build a bridge and get over it. But this is a trapezoid by this definition. And this is a common mathematical definition for trapezoid. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral, 4-sided polygon that has at least 1 pair of parallel sides. At least 1 pair. You can have more, but you got to have at least 1. So this thing is a trapezoid. Now there is another definition of trapezoid in the world. Another definition of trapezoid is a quadrilateral that has exactly 1 pair of opposite sides parallel. Now under that definition of the exactly 1 definition, this is not a trapezoid. But this definition it is. By the way, in the state of Arizona, our state standards define trapezoid this way. At least 1 pair. We call it the inclusive definition. The reason it's called inclusive is because this definition of trapezoid includes the rectangle, and as you'll see some other things too, but it includes more quadrilaterals that can be classified as trapezoids. The exactly 1 pair is called the exclusive definition. It excludes those things and only showcases sort of the iconic trapezoid that I'll share with you later. So anyway, parallelogram, rectangle, trapezoid, that's that thing right there. It's all 3 by the definitions that we have here. All right, how about that? Is that a parallelogram? Yes, it's a quadrilateral, has 2 parallel sides. There's a pair, there's a pair. This thing is a parallelogram. Is it a rectangle? It's a quadrilateral. All 4 angles are right angles. That is a right angle, 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 that is a rectangle. Yeah, a square is just a special case of a rectangle. Now, for young kids, rectangles are these things and squares are these things. But as we progress and get older, we can recognize that by definition, a rectangle, yes, is this, but this is also a rectangle because it's a quadrilateral with all 4 angles right angles. Now it's obviously a square as well, all four sides equal length and all four right angles. So since we have the special rectangle where all four sides are equal length and all four angles are right angles, we also have a square. So this thing is a parallelogram. Where'd my cursor go? This thing's a parallelogram, it's a rectangle, it's a square. Is it a rhombus? Quadrilateral, yep. All four sides are equal length. Yep. This thing's also a rhombus. Kite. Quadrilateral, yep. Two pairs of adjacent sides are equal length. Watch this. Adjacent means next to. So this side is next to this side, and they're the same length. This side is next to this side, and they're the same length. That thing's a kite. This thing's a parallelogram, a rectangle, a square, a rhombus, and a kite. Is it a trapezoid? Trapezoid. Quadrilateral, yep. At least one pair of opposite sides parallel. Parallel, parallel, at least one. In fact, two. This thing's also a trapezoid. The square does it all. It's a parallelogram, a rectangle, a square, a rhombus, a kite, and a trapezoid. How about that? Parallelogram, yep. Two pairs of parallel sides. Quadrilateral, four sides, yep, it's a parallelogram. Is it a rectangle? No, because in order to be a rectangle, all four angles are right angles. They're not. So it's not a rectangle. So far, it's only a parallelogram. Is it a square? No, all four sides have to be the same length and all right angles, so it's not a square. Is it a rhombus? No, all sides have to be equal length. Is it a kite? Two pairs of adjacent sides are equal length. Is this equal to this? No, I didn't mean to make these all the same. That's a little longer than that. So this is not a kite. Is this a trapezoid? At least one pair of opposite sides are parallel. There's one. There's two. Yep, this thing's a trapezoid. This thing is a parallelogram and a trapezoid. How about this? Parallelogram, yep. Rectangle, nope, no right angles. Square, nope, no right angles. I don't know why I'm still just a parallelogram. Rhombus, quadrilateral, all four sides equal length. Yep, this thing is a rhombus because all four sides are equal length. It's also a kite because of the adjacent sides are the same length. Adjacent sides the same length, so it's a kite. So it's a parallelogram, rhombus, kite. Is it a trapezoid? At least one pair of opposite sides parallel? Yep, this thing's a trapezoid too. Yeah. And then I have just two more. How about this? Notice this is a quadrilateral, four sides. So it's a quadrilateral. But is it a parallelogram? To be a parallelogram, you have to have two pairs of parallel sides. This thing only has one pair of parallel sides, not two. So it's not a parallelogram. Is it a rectangle? No. We don't have four right angles. Is it a square? No, we don't have four right angles. Is it a rhombus? No, because all four sides have to be the same length. Is it a kite? Like this adjacent side and this adjacent side, for example, would have to be the same length. Nope. So this thing is not a parallelogram. It's not a rectangle. It's not a square. It's not a rhombus. It's not a kite. It's just a trapezoid. It has at least one pair. There they are. There's the one pair of parallel sides. So it is just a trapezoid. And then I have, I wanted to show you this. This is kind of the more iconic trapezoid. What I mean by iconic is this is the one people probably think about. This is the one that the children's books are probably going to show as the trapezoid, where the two parallel sides are here and here, kind of top and bottom. We call those the bases of the trapezoid. Then the non-parallel sides. So it is a quadrilateral, and there is at least one pair, and exactly one pair, of opposite sides that are parallel. So this is a trapezoid as well. But it's not a kite, not a rhombus, not a square, not a rectangle, not a parallelogram. And then I had one more. I had to squeeze it up here. This is kind of the iconic kite. Quadrilateral, four sides. It does have four sides. adjacent sides equal length. So adjacent, next to each other equal length, and adjacent, next to each other equal length. So they don't all have to be the same equal length, like in a square, adjacent, equal length, adjacent, equal length, and all four are equal length. So this is a square and a kite. This is just a kite. It's not a parallelogram, no parallel sides. It's not a rectangle, no parallel sides, no right angles. It's not a square, it's not a rhombus. It's not a trapezoid because there's no parallel sides. And it's just a kite. So the iconic kite is where you have equal length, and then the two pairs of equal lengths don't have to be the same. And so it looked kind of like that, I don't know, a diamond or a kite that you'd fly in the sky. It's a kite, and that's all that it is. Hey, here's the final message, because especially with this whole trapezoid thing, maybe that's new to you. Like everything's a trapezoid, it seems like, except kites. Well, yeah, by definition they are. And later you're going to have another little activity to explain why that is important in a mathematical sense. But here's the bottom line. Definitions matter. Who defines things? Humans. We define these things. It's a human endeavor to engage in mathematical thinking. And so humans have defined these things. So based on those definitions, we kind of deal with the consequences of our definitions. And if the definition for trapezoid is what we say here, then we follow that consequence and we say then these things are all trapezoids. But we follow the definition. You're going to have an R&R about definitions and why this matters, and I'm going to have you keep thinking about definitions. But this is kind of sometimes for people kind of the earth shaker is you think of trapezoid as the iconic trapezoid, but then when you look at the definition, definitions matter. At least one pair of parallel sides. So trapezoid. Everything's a trapezoid then in the quadrilateral world, except for kites. Yeah, true story. Hey, hang in there. Keep working. You'll see where this is going next.